What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bert Brian's Kitchen. Today I have something special. I'm going to be doing a barbecued stuffed hamburger, and I would like to show you how to make it. This is something new I haven't really done yet, but I have no doubt that it'll be tasty. As we go along in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to make it and how to make it. So to start with, we're going to look at what you need in order to go ahead and stuff the hamburger. Since I want to prepare the meat first before I go into any of the sauce that I'm going to put on top of it or anything like that, we're just going to focus on what I need to actually prepare the meat so that I can go back in the fridge and can stay chilled while I'm working on making the sauce itself. So to start with, what you're going to need is a nice big red bell pepper. We have a green bell pepper. Need a onion of your choice. I went with a sweet onion, a sweet Vidalia, so that's what I chose. And then of course we have a couple nice sized orange habaneros here. Other things that you're going to need for this is a barbecue sauce of your choice. I'm going to be using some Pirate Isle swashbuckling barbecue sauce. And to kick it up a little bit more, we're going to be putting some scorpion stinger sauce, also from Pirate Isle. Then we're going to add in some salt and pepper. Alright, so now that you know what we need to actually prepare the meat, let's take you over the cutting board and show you what you got to do. Okay, so here we are. I've got my dinky little cutting board. I definitely need to get a larger one for things like this. And for my knife, I'm going to choose my Forstner again. I'm looking for something that gives me the angle and the right size blade to really get the cuts that I want. And I also just grabbed this little container for now to put what I'm chopping up in. So what you're going to do is start with your onion. Always want to remove the outside of it. And we'll go ahead and cut this in half. One thing I want to note too is of course you always want to wash your hands regularly while you're cooking. And I of course washed them before I started cooking today, before I handled any of this vegetable stuff. Alright, so I think all I'm probably going to need for right now is going to be this one. You want to come at the onion here at a slight angle, and you want to just kind of start cutting through like this. And I think I may only need a quarter, but we're going to go ahead and leave it like that. And what you end up with are these nice little chunks of onions here. They're good thickness, but not too thick. You want it to be able to caramelize easily with the peppers. So again, got a nice pile here. It's probably about a quarter cup or so of onions. We're going to throw it into that little container I just showed you, just to get it off the cutting board for now. Now of course you don't want to ever cut anything other than vegetables on your vegetable cutting board. You don't want to cross-contaminate. So we're going to go to our pepper next. Just a real easy thing with these, when you cut off the top, it's very simple. You can just reach right in, pull out all of the insides, all the seed, and it's very simple to shred. And by the way, also you of course want to wash all your vegetables as these were. Alright, so next you can do anything you want with these. I generally like to cut my pepper lengthwise, or lengthwise once, and then from here I will take the end piece, cut off these little excess ridges just so that you have a nice even cut. Let's cut it from this. Let's cut it from this side. And then again, just want to go through. Want to make nice size cuts with these peppers. Hopefully that'll focus good. Not too thick. Good size though. Nice thickness. Add those to the onion mix you had. And we're going to do the same thing for the opposite side here. Alright, now that we're done with the red pepper, we're going to go on to the green. And same thing you do with the green as you did with the red. Again, you don't want to discard these. You can always use the top. It's very simple to just pop out the little stem piece here. Alright. But because I want it all to be uniform for today, I'm doing a little bit extra. Again, you pull it all out. There's a few seeds in the bottom. Nice little tap. Gets them all out of there. And again, I'm going to cut the pepper lengthwise. Cutting off the ends. Cut out the white wall. And same thing with this side, doesn't have much of a white wall. Okay. And do the same thing you did with your red pepper. Now when I cut fast. You always want to be careful when you're using knives. If you're not used to it, go at whatever speed you're comfortable with. Generally, what they always try to teach you is when you're holding something, you want to curl in your fingers so that it rests like this, and your blade can stay right up against your knuckles so that it never has a chance of cutting your fingers, and you feed it along just by pushing with your fingertips as it goes. For me, I'm not going to ever cut my fingers. So, I mean, it's happened in the past, but I'm pretty comfortable with a blade these days. Alright, that's it for the onions and peppers. So, let's take this over to the stove. And last but certainly not least, you want to take your habaneros. Now for this one, I'm not going to do a whole lot of them. There's going to be some really spicy sauce in it, so I think 2 is going to be plenty to stuff and top with. So, say same thing with any other pepper. You just want to cut off your tops. Now the difference between these and your regular bell pepper is I really don't want to cut out that placenta that's in there. The placenta is this little area right here, this white spot that all the seeds are attached to on both sides. So all I really want to do with this is just kind of try to use my fingers or the knife. Of course, you want to definitely wash your hands very, very carefully or rigorously, I should say, after you get done doing this, because you're going to have a lot of capsaicin on them. Again, there's not much on this side, so I'm not going to worry about it. This was the placenta. I'm going to save that to add to the batch. Seeds off to the side. And boy, this thing is covered in seeds. So, and I'm not entirely worried about the seeds. I'm not a huge fan of chewing on the seeds. So, try to get those out of there as best as possible. Again, the other side doesn't really have any in it, so I'm not worried about it. And with these, I want them to be cut down as well. So, we're going to make these a lot finer of a cut. You want them to be, you know, you want them to be rather small, something like that. Nice thin slice. And at the same time, since I didn't cut all the way, we'll stretch them a little bit. Same thing on this side. You want these to be very finely cut. And I can just kind of shred them apart there. Okay, and that's pretty much all you do. We're going to finish cutting these, and then we'll start on cooking. Alright, so here we are over at the stove. I'm going to take a 10-inch stainless steel pan here. And what you need, of course, all of your peppers, onions, and I'm going to use a little bit of vegetable oil here. Generally, you probably want to use a tablespoon, maybe 2, depending on. I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. Luckily, I have a nice gas burn. I love them. So much better to cook with than electric. Going to put it on about a low to a medium heat, and I'm going to add my tablespoon and a half or so, maybe closer on the 2 side. Kind of want to spread it around there. Make sure you coat your pan very well, like so. Okay. Now all you're going to have to do is just wait a few seconds for this to heat up. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of these yummy onions and peppers there, and We don't want to forget our friends here, the habaneros. Toss all of that in there, minus the seeds. Now all you want to do is just kind of go through, make sure all of your peppers and onions are separated. See all the nice colors there, beautiful. All nice big pieces of pepper, little pieces of orange hidden all in there. It's going to be nice. Of course, in case you don't know, easy ways to toss. You always just kind of want to shake, and you're pushing everything forward in the pan and then flipping it upward so that it spins backward. So it's pretty simple. Once you get used to it, you won't really make any messes in your kitchen. Of course, sometimes when you're doing stuff with a lot of sauce, it can get messy. And all I'm going to do for these here is just simply add a little salt and pepper for a little flavor. Not much, just a little dash of each. Alright, we're going to let this sit. Alright, welcome back. It's been about 15 minutes, almost 20 on a good medium heat. Now if you want this to go faster, you can jack up the heat. You just want to make sure you watch it constantly. You don't want anything to overcook. And this is sizzling up nice. The peppers still have a little bit of a crispness to them. They're not completely limp. So I'm going to go ahead and kill these now. If you don't know what I mean by caramelized either, caramelized is when you have your onion, you cook it till it's translucent, till you can almost see through it. And a lot of times you'll have a little bit of a brown burn on it, you know, depending on how well you want it done. But we have these beautiful looking peppers and onions here, sauteed to perfection, ready to go. And so we're gonna let these cool off, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alright, so while the peppers are in the refrigerator cooling down, we're going to go ahead and take the meat and get it all seasoned up and ready to be stuffed. For this, I'm going to use a big giant bowl here. You can use any type of meat. Generally, I would like to get organic meat, something from you know, Ward's or one of the local stores. Unfortunately, budget's a little tight, so still went with ground chuck. It's a pretty lean meat. It's 80% lean, 20 fat, so it's one of the better options. Again, my video is edited because I wash my hands a million times, and I don't think you guys want to watch all of that. So what we're going to do is take our big bowl and plop our meat right in there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with a nice good dose of both salt and pepper. And while you're doing this, you can use your free hand just to sort of massage in all of your pepper, all the seasonings you're adding to it. Make sure I get a good bit of salt and pepper in there. Okay, good. One of the other things that we are adding to this burger, without touching it with my raw hand, we have some Cheetos Flaming Hot Crunchy Chips. Going to keep it with the whole spicy theme. I have about, I believe it's about a quarter cup here, maybe just a little shy of that. So we're going to go ahead and add in our chips here. And all I did to crush this down, you can use a coffee grinder. You know, all I did was just take a bowl and basically a measuring cup and just kind of squished it all down in there. Make sure we get this coated in there nice into the meat. Okay. And again, I never touch anything with my raw hand. The raw hand always stays free. I'm not going to use a lot of this over top. I'm probably going to make a somewhat of a sauce that I can drizzle over top along with my topping, but we're going to add in probably a couple tablespoons worth of that barbecue sauce and give it this nice barbecue flavor. And of course, this is a spicy barbecue burger, so we will add in some of the scorpion stinger sauce here. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because I got some friends coming over that I don't know how much they're into heat, but I'll let them add more if they want when it's done cooking. Alright. And that's pretty much all you do. You just want to knead it all in. Make sure that you spread out all your seasonings and everything in there. Alright. Alright, so here we have our peppers and onions. It's all cooled down now, ready to be added to the meat. I'm going to be stuffing it with some goat cheese as well. So go ahead and cut this open. If you want, sometimes a trick that we used to use is you can go to the store and you want to find a dental floss that doesn't have any kind of flavoring added to it or anything. It's just plain string floss. And ideally that's really the best way to cut goat cheese, using some sort of string. Anytime you use a knife like I have here, it tends to just bunch up and get stuck all in. Thankfully it's still cool enough or cold enough for me to cut it without it falling apart too much, but that's the idea. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and pre-cut a couple pieces of this for each hamburger, or a couple nice chunks for each burger, because I am going to be handling the meat and I don't want to be touching the cheese again after I've handled the meat. And no jokes about handling the meat either. Alright. It looks about good for each burger there. Alright, give it a quick rinse. I always keep warm soapy water. It makes cleanup a lot easier if you clean as you go. Alright, so now we've got our burgers. These are the 3 large ones that I'm going to focus on here. And this other one I'm going to save for someone else. Alright, so what you want to start doing, since you're going to be stuffing it, you want to kind of flatten it out. Like that. Well, let me move this other one there so that I've got room. And again, like I say, you just want to flatten out your patty as much as possible here. You don't want it to be too thin, obviously, but you can adjust that later after you stuff it. Alright, now of course this is my raw hand. I'm going to use my non-raw hand to handle the vegetables here. I don't know if you can tell, but if you look, there's orange here from the habaneros, there's the green or red peppers and the onions. And basically I'm just going to eyeball this, meaning that I'm not going to really measure out any certain specific amount, but I want to make sure I get plenty of the habanero as well as the peppers. Again, this is going to probably be added again to the top of it, so it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to use a whole lot. The whole idea is just to kind of infuse the meat with the flavor while it cooks. And okay, that should be good. Next step, you want to take the cheese here. It's okay to use your raw hand because you're not going to be handling any of the other cheese with it, or anything else for that matter. And so I don't know if you can see this, but here's what we have. Okay. And then basically all you want to do is kind of flatten down, and you want to just bring the meat around what you have stuffed, sort of like this, like a little taco shell. You just fold it all in, and then you just kind of seal all the edges. It's okay if a little piece of pepper hangs out, it's not a big deal. You just want to make sure it's sealed up so that the cheese is going to stay in there and it doesn't melt out during cooking. Okay, and so then we're just gonna make sure it's a nice ball. I'm not gonna patty it out until I'm ready to throw it on the grill. And you just do the same thing with the other 3. Alright, and lastly we're gonna make our topping that's gonna go over the burger when it's done cooking. For this recipe, or sorry, for this, it's rather simple topping. You can use whatever kind of sour cream you want. For me, I just got some regular old sour cream. You need a 1/4 cup. And there's a 1/4 cup. And I'm going to go with a little bit more of this blueberry jalapeno pepper jam from Pirate Isle. I do have all those other jellies, but I'm going to do those with something different and try those individually first as well. It's going to be 1 tablespoon of your pepper jelly. You know what, we'll add just a little tiny bit more to that. And I just pulled these back out because I'm going to basically be adding just a few of these, a few of the big slices of the red pepper in there. You can dice them if you want them to be smaller, but for presentation purposes I kind of want them to be big. And we'll add a little bit of the green pepper in here as well. Okay. And it's not going to need a whole lot of this. You're only putting a little dab or two, maybe a tablespoon on top of each burger. So you don't need a whole lot. But anyway, this is the, I don't know if you can really tell with the colors, but it's got this beautiful purple color to the cream, to the sour cream, and then it's got all these big chunks of the beautiful peppers in there. So I've got the meat back in the fridge. I'm going to stick both of these also back in the refrigerator until the grill gets fired up and ready to go. And then we'll start cooking from there. Alright, one thing you want to avoid is to try flipping the meat too much. You don't want to handle it a whole lot. You kind of just want to let it do its thing, cook on its side before you flip it over. I've given this one a good 7 minutes or so. So, just going to flip it over. Starting to get a nice, you know, cooked around the edge there. A lot of this red you see isn't blood. It's from the Cheetos that are still there because I put in the flaming hot Cheetos. So a lot of that red is from that. But anyway, so just flip it over and let it sit for another 5 to 7 minutes. Try not to touch it. You don't want to squash it down. When you squash down, you're pushing out all the juice and the flavor that's in there. So try to avoid ever pushing down on the meat. But yeah, so we're just going to let it sit for another 7 minutes and come back and check on it. Alright, so let's take a look at where we're at. Ooh, it's looking pretty much perfect. Oh yeah. Bottom's cooked all the way. One of the other things that I forgot to mention about not squeezing it is this is a stuffed burger, so especially you don't want to squeeze it. You don't want the cheese and everything that's in there to come dripping out the bottom. So we're just going to let this sit for a few seconds. I got a piece of pepper jack cheese on there to go along with the whole spicy theme that's into it. And we're going to let this sit, and I'll show you when it's done. Alright, now it's time for almost my favorite part, time to eat. But first I got the bun all nice and toasted. So we're going to put this bad boy on the bun. And it's time to use some of this unbelievably tasty sauce here made with that blueberry jalapeno jelly and sour cream. Like I say, it's got little pieces of the habanero, red and green bell peppers, and some onion in there. It's really a unique taste. Alright, now we've got that on. Boy, that thing just looks so good. What we're gonna do is cut her in half. And let's see if we can. Now again, a lot of the red that you might see in there is from the Cheeto, but it is nice and well cooked through. Lots of pieces of the onions and peppers, and you can see the white where the goat cheese is still inside. It didn't cook out of the meat, so it's perfect. Let's give it a try. Alright, what's going on, guys? Now the finished product, I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor, this wonderful looking burger here. Let's give it a shot. Wow, that is unbelievable. I've never had, like I said, a jelly in any kind of sauce before, especially not on a burger or something, but man, that flavor is unbelievable, and the heat's all still in there from the scorpion sauce and those habaneros that were diced up. Habaneros are all over in it. It's tasty, tasty burger. It's probably one of the best tasting burgers I think I've ever had. So on that note, I'm not gonna sit here and make you watch me eat. I'm gonna chow down on this. But thanks for watching. I'm gonna have some reviews coming up of all those different jellies that were sent to me from Heidi. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and as always, stay toasty, my friends.